Not just a game. A fight for respect.
In a small village in India, there lived a man named Mahavir Singh Phogat.
He was a strong man. He loved wrestling.
Wrestling was his life. When he was young, he wanted to win a gold medal for India.
But his dream never came true. Life was hard. He had to leave wrestling and work for money.
But inside his heart, the dream was still alive.
Years passed. Mahavir had children.
He wanted a son, someone to continue his dream. But he had 4 daughters. At first, he was sad. He thought girls could not wrestle. That was what the village believed. That was what people said. But one day, something changed. 2 of his daughters, Geeta and Babita, came home after a fight with some boys. The boys were bigger, but the girls won.
Mahavir saw something special in them. He saw strength. He saw fire.
That night, his dream woke up again. He thought, maybe my daughters can win gold for India. From that moment, everything changed.
The story of Dangal is not just about wrestling. It is about fighting for respect. It is about believing in your dream, even when the world laughs. It is about being strong, not only in the body, but in the heart.
In this movie recap, you will follow Geeta and Babita's journey. You will see how their father trained them in the early mornings, in the hot sun, and even in the rain. You will see how they lost, how they cried, how they learned, and how they won.
This is a true story. A story of pain. A story of power. A story that changed a nation. Chapter 1: The Broken Dream.
In a small village in India, long ago, there was a young man named Mahavir Singh Phogat. Mahavir loved one thing more than anything: wrestling. Wrestling was not just a sport for him, it was a dream.
A big dream. He wanted to win a gold medal for India. He wanted to be the best wrestler in the country. He worked hard every day, training in the heat and dust. He believed with all his heart that one day, he would stand on the winner's stage and hear his country's flag rise. But life did not go as Mahavir planned. His dream broke. He got injured, and his body could not fight like before. The dream of gold slipped away. Sometimes, life is hard. Sometimes, our plans break like glass. Mahavir had to give up wrestling to take care of his family. He became a farmer and a teacher. His hands worked the soil instead of wrestling mats. Years passed, and Mahavir got married. He and his wife had children, 4 daughters. But Mahavir still wanted to win gold for India. At first, he thought his daughters could never do that. In his village, people believed girls should not wrestle. People said girls were too weak. They said girls should stay at home and do housework. Mahavir's heart felt heavy. But the dream inside him did not die. One day, something surprising happened. Mahavir saw his daughters playing and fighting like boys. They were strong. They were fast. They were brave. They did not listen to the people who said they were too small or too weak. Mahavir's eyes opened wide. Maybe, just maybe, the gold dream could live again. Not in him, but in his daughters. From that day, Mahavir decided to train his daughters. It was not easy. Many people laughed. They said he was crazy. They said girls should not wrestle. But Mahavir did not listen. He believed. He knew deep inside that dreams do not die, they change. This story is about a broken dream that came alive again. It shows us that even when life breaks our plans, new hopes can grow. It teaches us to never stop believing. Mahavir's dream did not end with him, it grew in the hearts of his daughters. And together,
they began a journey that would change their lives and inspire a whole nation.
Chapter 2: Daughters, Not Sons. In Mahavir's village, people had many old beliefs.
They believed boys were strong. They believed girls were weak.
Boys could play and fight.
Girls had to stay at home, cook food, and clean the house.
This was the way things had always been. No one questioned it. No one changed it.
But Mahavir Singh Phogat was not like everyone else. He had a dream, and that dream was stronger than fear or tradition.
Mahavir had no sons, only daughters. 4 of them. Most people said he was unlucky.
They said, a man without sons is not a real man.
But Mahavir did not agree.
One day, he saw something that changed everything. His 2 oldest daughters, Geeta and Babita, got into a fight with some boys.
And they won.
They were fast.
They were strong.
They were brave. That moment, Mahavir saw something powerful.
He saw champions. That night, Mahavir could not sleep. He thought, why can't girls become wrestlers?
Why do we wait for sons when daughters are just as strong? In the dark of his room, he made a big decision. He would train his daughters to become wrestlers. He would give them the dream he once had, the dream of gold. It was a bold choice.
A risky one.
But Mahavir had made up his mind. The next morning, everything changed.
Geeta and Babita were shocked when their father woke them up before sunrise.
He told them to run, to train, to learn how to wrestle. At first, they did not like it. They were tired. Their feet hurt. They missed their old life. Other girls laughed at them.
The villagers said Mahavir was crazy. Wrestling is not for girls, they said. But Mahavir didn't stop. He didn't listen.
His eyes were full of fire. He trained his daughters like warriors. Every day was a challenge. They ran barefoot on dusty roads.
They practiced under the hot sun.
They ate special food, cut their hair short, and trained like boys.
They didn't play with dolls.
They fought on the wrestling mat.
Their hands got stronger.
Their hearts got braver. Slowly, the girls started to believe in themselves. They were no longer just daughters. They were future champions.
People in the village started to notice.
At first, they laughed. Then they watched. Then they started to wonder, what if girls really can wrestle?
Mahavir's fight was not just on the wrestling mat. It was in the hearts of people. He was changing minds, one day at a time.
He was proving that dreams don't need sons, dreams need belief. This chapter shows us that greatness does not care if you are a boy or a girl. Greatness needs courage, discipline, and love.
Mahavir gave his daughters all 3.
And in return, his daughters gave the world something special, hope.
The kind of hope that can change everything. Chapter 3: Wrestling in the Dirt.
There was no wrestling mat.
No gym. No clean uniforms.
Just a small muddy field near the village. It smelled of earth and dust.
This was their arena. This was where champions would grow. Every morning, before the sun rose, Mahavir woke his daughters.
The world was still dark. The birds were sleeping.
But Geeta and Babita were already on their feet, eyes half open, bodies tired, but ready. They wore old clothes.
Their shoes were torn. Their hands were rough. The mud was wet and cold. There were no cheering crowds. Only silence and pain.
Mahavir made them run, stretch, and wrestle. He shouted. He pushed. Not because he was angry, but because he believed. He believed his daughters could become the best. And to be the best, they had to suffer first. Success never comes easy. Geeta and Babita wrestled each other every day. They slipped in the mud. They fell. They got hurt. Sometimes they cried. Sometimes they wanted to stop. But they didn't. Their father was always there. Watching. Guiding. Teaching. He told them, "This pain is your power. Every drop of sweat will take you one step closer to gold." The girls listened, even when it was hard. Because deep inside, they trusted him. The village people laughed. What kind of father makes girls fight in the dirt? They asked. This is shameful, they said. But Mahavir didn't listen. And neither did the girls. They had no mat, no fame, and no help. But they had something more important: each other. Together, they were strong. Together, they trained like warriors in the mud. And slowly, things began to change. Their moves became sharper. Their bodies became stronger. Their eyes started to shine. The mud became their teacher. The pain became their friend. Wrestling in the dirt was not a weakness. It was a gift. It made them tougher than any gym could. This chapter is about more than wrestling. It is about heart. About not waiting for perfect conditions. It is about starting where you are with whatever you have. Geeta and Babita didn't need a stadium to become great. They needed belief. They needed effort. And they gave both every single day. Chapter 4: The Village Laughs. In the small village, people loved to talk. And when Mahavir Singh Phoga trained his daughters like wrestlers, the whole village talked louder. Every morning, they saw the girls in shorts, running and wrestling in the dirt. It was not normal. It was not right for girls, they said. So they laughed. The neighbors pointed fingers. They shook their heads. This man is crazy, they whispered. Wrestling is for boys, they said. Who will marry them now? The aunties gossiped. The uncles joked. Some even told Mahavir to stop. They said he was wasting his daughters' lives. But Mahavir didn't listen. He looked at his daughters and saw something the world didn't. He saw strength. He saw fire. He saw champions. Let them laugh, he said. One day, they will clap. Every time someone mocked him, he trained harder. Every insult was fuel. Every joke made his belief stronger. Geeta and Babita heard the whispers too. Sometimes they cried. Sometimes they felt embarrassed. But their father told them, people laugh at what they don't understand. Let your work speak louder than their words. And slowly, the girls believed him. They stopped hiding. They stood taller. The laughs from the village became background noise. One morning, as they wrestled in the mud, a group of boys came to watch. They laughed. Girls can't wrestle, they shouted. But when Geeta pinned one of them to the ground in seconds, the laughter stopped. The village started to notice, maybe this crazy father had a point. The journey was not easy. Being different is never easy. But Mahavir taught his daughters to be proud. Proud of their strength. Proud of their path. He was not just training them to win medals. He was training them to face the world, a world that was not ready for strong girls. Not yet. But that didn't matter. Because Mahavir was ready. And so were his daughters. Chapter 5: First Victory, First Spark. It was a hot day.
The wrestling match was in a small local stadium. The crowd was small. Many seats were empty.
Some people came just to watch the girl wrestler. They didn't expect much. Most thought she would lose quickly.
But one person believed, her father.
Geeta walked onto the mat.
Her heart beat fast.
She looked across. Her opponent was a boy. Older. Stronger. Everyone said he would win. But Geeta had trained too hard to be afraid now.
Her father's voice echoed in her mind, "Fight with your heart, not just your hands."
The whistle blew. The match began. People started watching closely. Geeta moved fast. She remembered every lesson. Step back. Block. Twist. Flip.
The match was hard, but she didn't stop.
She fell. She got back up. She was tired. But she kept fighting. And then it happened. With one smart move, Geeta turned the boy and pinned him to the mat. The referee raised her hand. She had won. Her first real win. The crowd clapped slowly. Then louder. Mahavir stood up, eyes full of tears. It was not just a match. It was proof. Proof that girls can fight. That girls can win. Geeta held the medal in her hand. It was small. Just local. But in her heart, it felt like gold. That medal was not for herself. It was for every girl in the village who stayed home because people said they couldn't. It was for every father who wanted to believe in his daughter but was afraid to try. That match changed something. In her. In her family. In the crowd. A tiny spark had started. A spark of belief. That spark would become a fire. A fire that would burn every old idea that said girls can't. From that day, people looked at her differently. The village still whispered. But some started to smile. Some started to wonder. What if she can go further? And Geeta? She smiled too. Because she knew something new had begun. This was just the beginning. The first win. The first medal. The first spark. Chapter 6, Leaving Home, Finding Self. Geeta stood at the train station. Her small bag was full. Not just with clothes, but with dreams. Her father, Mahavir, stood beside her. He looked proud. He looked worried. She was leaving home for the first time. She was going to the National Wrestling Academy. At the academy, everything was different. The rules were new. The food was new. The coaches didn't shout like her father. They were kind, but they didn't push like him. The training was easier, and life felt more free. For the first time, Geeta was on her own. She had her own room. A phone. New clothes. New friends. Slowly, she began to change. Her hair grew long. She wore earrings. She laughed more. She felt strong not just in her body, but in her choices. The wins came quickly. Geeta started to beat national champions. People clapped for her. The newspapers wrote her name. Her photo was on posters. She felt proud. She felt famous. But back home, things were different. Mahavir watched from far away. He read the news too. He saw the pictures. He smiled, but his heart felt heavy. His daughter was flying high, but she wasn't calling home. She didn't ask for his advice anymore.
The girl who once ran behind him in muddy fields now walked in clean stadiums, alone. One day, Mahavir came to visit. He watched her match. She won, but he saw something else. Her style had changed. Her movements were slower.
Her focus wasn't the same. She didn't fight with fire, she fought with fame.
Later, he tried to speak to her.
Geeta, he said softly, you are forgetting who you are.
She smiled politely.
Papa, I have better training now.
He nodded, but inside, his heart broke a little. Sometimes, when we leave home, we find the world. But sometimes, we lose a piece of ourselves too.
Geeta was becoming a champion, yes.
But was she still the same girl who once cried in muddy fields?
This chapter is about more than just success. It is about growing up. About flying high, and remembering your roots. Geeta was learning that winning medals is easy. But keeping your values, that is the real fight.
Chapter 7, Clash of Beliefs.
Geeta came home. After many months at the academy, she returned to the village. Her medals hung around her neck.
She walked with confidence. Her hair was longer now.
She looked different. She felt different.
Her father, Mahavir, waited at the gate. He smiled, but it was not the same smile. Something had changed. He was proud, yes, but also quiet. He looked at her, like he was trying to find the little girl inside this champion.
At home, Mahavir asked her to train with him again. She agreed.
But the training felt strange.
Mahavir wanted discipline. Geeta wanted freedom. Mahavir wanted tradition. Geeta wanted new technique.
In the field, the air was full of tension.
Mahavir shouted, "Move your feet. Stay low." Geeta replied, "This is not how we train at the academy, Papa." Day by day, the gap grew.
It was not just about wrestling.
It was about belief. About values. About who was right. Geeta believed in her new coaches. In science, speed, and modern moves.
She had seen the world. She had tasted victory.
Mahavir believed in sweat. In pain. In heart.
His methods were old, but they had built Geeta from the ground.
One day, it exploded. A match, father versus daughter. Not official. Not planned. Just two people on the mat, both burning with emotion. They wrestled. Geeta fought hard.
But her father's moves were sharp, full of wisdom.
He beat her. No one clapped. No one cheered. It was not a happy win. It was a silent lesson. A silent cry of love. Mahavir didn't want to hurt her.
He just wanted her to remember where she came from.
Geeta sat alone after the match.
Her eyes were wet. Not from pain, from truth. She saw something she forgot. Her father was her first coach.
Her first fan. Her first reason to dream. This clash was not about ego. It was about love. A love that doesn't always speak, but always stays. Chapter 8, Losing Herself. Geeta had become a star. Her name was in the newspapers. Her face was on TV. People clapped when she walked by. She had fans now. She had medals, interviews, and attention. At first, it felt like a dream. She smiled more. She walked taller. She was proud, and she should be. She had worked hard. She had earned this. But slowly, something began to change.
Geeta started listening less to her heart and more to her pride. At practice, she didn't push herself as much.
She thought, I already know everything.
She began to ignore her old training.
She forgot the days of mud and sweat. She forgot waking up before the sun.
She started to believe that talent alone was enough. In matches, her moves were still sharp, but not her mind.
She didn't fight with hunger anymore.
Her focus was weak. Her spirit was quiet. Then, she lost.
And she lost again. And again.
The crowd that once cheered became silent. Her name was still big, but her victories were gone.
Geeta sat alone one evening in the academy dorm.
She looked at her medals. They were shining, but cold.
They didn't speak to her anymore. She asked herself, where is the fire I had? Where is the girl who fought in the mud? Fame is like a shadow. It follows you everywhere, but it's not real. Pride is like a fog. It covers your eyes and hides the truth.
And Geeta finally saw it. She was losing not because others were stronger, but because she had lost herself.
She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat there. Still. Quiet.
Like the old days, when wrestling was her only friend. That night, something returned, not her medals, not her wins, but her fire.
Chapter 9, Redemption begins. Geeta was not the same girl anymore.
She had tasted victory. She had also tasted defeat.
But the biggest loss was not a medal. It was losing her way.
One morning, she picked up the phone. Her voice was quiet.
She said, Papa, can I come home? Mahavir said nothing for a moment. Then, only one word, yes.
When Geeta stepped back into her village, the air felt different. It smelled of dust, sweat, and memories. She was not a little girl anymore, but somehow, this place made her feel small again.
Mahavir didn't say much. He didn't need to.
He looked into her eyes and saw something new.
Not pride. Not fear. But hunger. Geeta tied her hair.
She wore her old training clothes. She stood in the same muddy field.
Her feet remembered. Her heart remembered. She bowed her head and said, I'm ready. And then, it began. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just the sound of feet in the dirt. The slap of hands. The breath of early morning. She trained harder than before. She listened more. She asked questions. She accepted mistakes. Her father didn't go easy on her. He pushed her. He made her fall. He made her rise. And for the first time in many months, Geeta smiled. She was not the star here. She was not the champion. She was just a student, a learner again. And that was exactly what she needed to be. One day, after a long training session, she sat beside her father. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and wide. She whispered, I'm sorry. Mahavir looked at her and said, You don't need to be sorry. You just need to be ready. And she was. The journey to gold was not just about medals. It was about falling, learning, returning. And now, redemption had begun. Chapter 10, One Match, One Nation. Geeta stood in the tunnel. The lights were bright. The crowd was loud. She could hear her heart beating, fast, strong, alive. This was not just another match. This was the final. The last step. The biggest moment of her life.
Behind her was her past, the village, the tears, the training, the fights. Ahead of her was one girl. One match. One chance. When Geeta walked onto the mat, the whole stadium looked at her. But she didn't feel small. She felt ready. All over India, people were watching. Boys. Girls. Mothers. Fathers. Coaches. Daughters. Girls who had never stepped into a ring. Girls who were told to stay home, stay quiet, stay small. Geeta was not alone. The whistle blew. The match began. It was fast. Rough. Every second was a test. Every move was pressure. But Geeta had trained for this moment all her life. She remembered her father's voice, attack first. She moved quickly. Strong. Smart. She scored points. But the other girl was strong too. She came back. She fought hard. For a moment, Geeta slipped. She fell. The crowd gasped. But Geeta didn't give up. She got up. She looked at the scoreboard. Still time. Still a chance. Her eyes focused. Her heart burned. She attacked again. One move. One twist. 1 second of courage. Point. Another point. And then, the final whistle. Silence. Then, cheers. She had won. Gold. Geeta sat on the mat, breathing hard. Tears in her eyes. But this time, they were not tears of pain. They were victory. Not just for her. For every girl who had been told, you can't. For every father who believed. For every village that laughed and then clapped. Mahavir was watching too. He didn't shout. He just smiled. His eyes full of pride. His dream, her reality. That gold medal was more than medal. It was proof. Proof that hard work beats doubt. That love beats fear. That a girl can change everything. Chapter 11, Locked Out, Not Silent. It was the biggest day of Geeta's life. The final match of the Commonwealth Games. The whole world was watching. Her father, Mahavir Singh Phogat, was there too, but he was not in the coach's chair. He was not by her side. He was locked outside the arena. It was a cruel moment. He had trained her for years. Woke her up before sunrise. Made her run, wrestle, fall, rise. He had been her coach, her guide, her father. And now, when it mattered most, he was not allowed in. Geeta didn't know where he was. She looked for him. But the chair was empty. Other people shouted instructions. Coaches. Officials. But in her head, there was only one voice. Her father's voice. Stay low. Don't stop. Be faster. Be smarter. Be first. She remembered every word. Every lesson. Every moment on the dirt ground back home. The match began. It was tough. Her opponent was strong. But Geeta was stronger not just in body, but in spirit. Even though Mahavir was locked outside, his spirit was inside her. Every move she made was from his training. Every point she scored was from his teaching. Every fall she took, she rose, just like he taught her. Outside the arena, Mahavir stood alone. A screen showed the match. He watched, eyes wide, heart pounding. He could not shout. He could not help.
He could only hope. And then, he saw it. Geeta made the winning move. Just like he taught her. Just like they had practiced again and again. And again. She won. The gold was hers. Inside, the crowd cheered. People clapped. Geeta smiled. Outside, Mahavir wiped a tear. He didn't need to be in the room. He was always in her heart. That day, the world saw something more powerful than coaching. They saw trust. They saw love. They saw a silent father, whose silence spoke louder than any shout. Chapter 12. Victory against all odds. The referee raised her hand. Geeta Phogat had won. The scoreboard showed it. The crowd stood up. Some clapped, some cried. Her coach ran to her. Her teammates cheered. The gold medal, shining, bright, was hers. But this victory was bigger than just a medal. This was the victory of a village girl who once trained in the mud. This was the win of a daughter who believed, when no one else did. This was the rise of a dream that many thought was impossible. Years ago, people laughed at her father. Girls can't wrestle, they said. They are weak. They belong in the kitchen. Even friends, even family, they all doubted him. But now, those same people watched Geeta stand tall. On the world stage. Holding gold. Proud. Powerful. Behind her were years of pain. Early mornings. Harsh words. Tired legs. Bruises. Tears. Sacrifices. Inside her heart was her father's voice. Her sister's strength. Her own fire. This was not just about Geeta. It was about every girl who was told she was less. Every girl who had a dream but was told no, every girl who was made to feel small. Today, Geeta made them feel seen. She didn't just beat her opponent. She beat fear. She didn't just fight for herself. She fought for every daughter of India. Her victory broke more than records. It broke silence. It broke doubt. It broke the old rules. And when she stood on that podium, gold around her neck, national anthem playing, even the strongest hearts in the crowd cried. She looked up, her eyes wet, her hands on her heart. Somewhere outside the ring, her father stood quietly. No words. Just pride. And the world learned something important. When a girl fights, she doesn't fight alone. She carries generations with her. And when she wins, the whole world changes. Chapter 13, A New India Begins. Geeta's gold medal was more than just medal. It was a message. Across India, in small dusty villages, something began to change. Not loudly. Not quickly. But surely. Before, girls were told to cook, clean, and stay quiet. Wrestling? That was for boys. Dreams? Only for sons. But now? Now, small feet run to the wrestling mat every morning. Now, little girls tie their hair and tighten their shoes. Now, fathers don't say, "You can't." They say, "Try." Geeta's win opened a door. And thousands of girls walked through it. In one town, a girl names her doll Geeta. In another, a school adds a wrestling class just for girls. A teacher hangs Geeta's photo on the wall. And a mother says, "My daughter will be like her." Mahavir's fight for respect started with one match. But now, it's a movement. The Dangal, the battle, is everywhere now. In hearts. In homes. In hopes. Geeta didn't just fight her opponent.
She fought for a new India. An India where daughters can be champions. Where dreams wear braids. Where strength wears a smile.
The world saw a medal. But the girls of India saw a mirror, and they finally saw a fighter inside. This is only the beginning. Because when one girl wins, 1,000 more believe.
And a new India rises.
Chapter 14: The Father Who Never Gave Up.
Long ago, Mahavir Singh Phogat had one dream: to win gold for India.
He trained. He worked hard. But life had other plans. He never stood on a podium. He never wore a medal around his neck.
He never heard a stadium cheer for him.
But he never gave up.
When his own dream was broken, he didn't cry.
He didn't stop. He looked at his daughters, Geeta and Babita, and saw a second chance.
In a world where girls were told no, he said yes.
Yes, they can wrestle. Yes, they can win. Yes, they can be strong.
He trained them before sunrise.
He fought the village. He faced insults and laughter. But he believed. And that belief changed everything. Geeta's gold was more than a win, it was a tribute.
A quiet thank you to the man who never stopped believing.
Mahavir stood in silence during the final match. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't watching with eyes. He was listening with his heart. And when the referee raised Geeta's hand in victory, Mahavir knew. He didn't need a medal. He had something greater. He had raised legends. And the whole world clapped for the daughter and for the father behind her. Your fight starts now. You have watched the story of a girl from a small village. You have seen her fight, fall, and rise again. You have felt the love of a father who never gave up. Now, it is your turn. Maybe your dream is not gold in wrestling. Maybe it is to speak English. To go to school. To change your life. To make your parents proud. The road will not be easy. You will feel tired. People may laugh at you. Some will say, you can't. But listen closely. Do you hear that voice? The one inside your heart? It says, try one more time. It says, you can. That voice is your coach. That voice is your Mahavir. Don't ignore it. Start small. Learn one new word today. Practice one sentence. Watch one English video. Fall. Stand up. Repeat. You are not weak. You are not alone. You are a fighter. This is your Dangal now, your arena, your ring. And every day is a match. Every word you learn is a step forward. Every mistake is part of the training. Geeta's fight gave hope to millions. Now, your story can give hope to someone too. To your family. To your village. To your future. So, hold your dream tight. Breathe deep. And step forward. Because your fight starts now.